Homeschooling high school can be really intimidating and overwhelming. So intimidating that a lot of people end up putting their high schoolers back into a school setting and decide not to homeschool them. But it really isn't as overwhelming and scary as you think it is. Our family has been homeschooling for over 8 years, and I currently have a 16-year-old 12th grader and a 14-year-old 9th grader. In this video, I'm going to share with you the steps I've taken to create our 4-year high school plans and how I go about creating our transcripts. In my next video, I'm going to share a detailed look at my current 12th grader's complete 4-year transcript so you can see how exactly we implemented all of these steps that I'm about to go over into like a real life transcript. I'm going to talk about what you need to do before you start homeschooling high school and then how to get started on planning everything. We're a pretty relaxed homeschool family, and I really like to follow my kids' interest when I am creating their homeschool plans. Right now, both of my kids are on a college path, but I'll share a little bit more information about how it's really important to be flexible, and that is actually one of the biggest benefits of homeschooling high school. So before you begin homeschooling high school, maybe in middle school or just whenever you decided that you want to start homeschooling your high schooler, you need to take some steps. The very first thing that you need to do is you need to look up the requirements in your state or your country or just whatever dictates your homeschool laws where you're located. We have lived in both Tennessee and Florida during our high school years, and neither one of those states really had a whole lot of requirements for high school, nothing beyond what is just required for homeschooling any other year. Some states require that students take certain classes and stuff like that, so you definitely want to make sure that you know what your area requires. The next thing you're going to want to do is determine what your goals are for high school, and you definitely need to include your kid and sit down and talk to them about what their goals are in the future. Are they planning to go to college? Do they want to go to trade school? Do they want to go straight into the workforce? Are they going to want to travel? Just whatever it is that their adult life is going to look like right after they leave your house, you need to start preparing for that. It is really important to make this very flexible and able to be changed because a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old is not going to know really what they want to do when they're an adult. It needs to be something that they can change their mind. I mean, I remember being a teenager and having this weight of making a decision on what I want to do after I graduate high school was overwhelming, and you don't want your kid to feel stressed out. They're already going through enough, just going through adolescence. So you want to make this something that they feel is very fluid and that they have control over. For our family, both of my kids considered and are still considering going to college after they graduate from high school. If not right away, then at least eventually. So kind of the safest thing for us to do, and probably for most families, is going to be to kind of plan for your kids to need a transcript that is going to look similar to what a private or public high schooler's transcript is going to look like. If they're going to go into college and they need that transcript, it is beneficial for it to look somewhat similar to what everybody else has. Now, one of the benefits of homeschooling is you can throw in some unique things, but really having the basic for English, for math, etc., is going to look good on their transcript. So what I did is, we're in Florida, so I looked at what the Florida public school requires for kids to graduate. And what that looks like is 4 English, 4 math, 3 science, 2 of those need to include a lab, a foreign language, 3 histories, which were American history, world history, and then like a government economics class. And they needed 25 credits to graduate. So that was kind of like our baseline of what we wanted our transcripts to look like. Now, when you're getting these classes, this is when you really get to tailor them to what your kids want to do. You can really follow their interests and do what they're interested in. And even in like, say, those English classes, that's when your child can really, even on their transcript, show their personality in their transcript and get to do things that they really enjoy doing. Like, for example, one year, my older daughter, my current 12th grader, she was really interested in mythology. She was just binge read all of the Percy Jackson books. So that year for her English credit, we just like deep dove into mythology, and she read every single Percy Jackson book. She read the Odyssey, the Iliad, and did a whole bunch of studies on mythology, all different types of mythology. And along with that, she did a high school astronomy class with a lab. And all of those really tied in together really well. And it was probably one of our favorite homeschool years. But if your child's not interested in going to college, or maybe wants to do some different things, you definitely don't have to follow what the public school is doing. You can make your own unique, creative transcript and let your kids really study what it is they're wanting to study. Some families are a little bit more traditional curriculum, and then some families are unschoolers, and you can do a very good transcript even as an unschooler without following like a set curriculum. The transcript is really just a summary of the things that they've done and learned, and it doesn't have to look so cookie cutter. So don't feel like you have to make it look like everybody else's or it's wrong, because you definitely don't have to. So once you have like a general idea of what your plans are going to be for homeschooling high school and what your child's goals are for after high school, then you can kind of start really planning what it is you're going to do. I used Google Sheets, but you can also use Excel just to kind of make a rough draft plan of what you're going to do. And then throughout high school, you can just keep that, all of that information as you're completing stuff on this Google Sheets document. At the very end of high school, once you're ready to turn it into a college, is when you can make it more official looking. So don't feel like it needs to look beautiful yet. Mine still doesn't. My daughter's in her final year of high school, so we're still working off of our like rough draft. There's a lot of different downloads that you can purchase online to make it more official looking if you want to do that. And I might do that once I'm ready to turn it into a college, but we're not there yet. So don't overstress yourself about that. So then you're gonna make like a tentative plan of what each year is gonna look like. So like if you're gonna do 4 English classes and you're gonna do 4 years of high school, you're gonna have 1 English every year, 1 math every year. You need to get in 3 science. So kind of do like a general plan of what you're thinking you want it to look like. But the benefit here is really that it is going to be really flexible. For us, we knew that every year we needed to do 1 English, 1 math, 1 science, 1 history, and then everything else was pretty flexible on what we decided to do. And I didn't even really have a plan on what exactly we were going to do for English each year, just because I wanted to make sure that we followed my daughter's interest, and she was getting to pick and choose like what she wanted to study that year. So while we knew what classes we kind of needed to fit in, I didn't necessarily have like an exact curriculum plan. So you can just take that year by year and follow their interest, because it's going to change. They're still trying to figure out who they are and what they're interested in, and their interest might take them down different paths, and they're still experimenting and learning things. So don't feel like you need to like know what curriculum they're going to use all the way through high school. It's okay to just take it 1 year at a time. Some years also might be more heavily focused on academics, and other years might be more focused on other things. For my oldest daughter, her first year of high school, we did a whole lot of academic stuff. But then the next year we moved states, COVID happened, and we didn't get a whole lot of academics in. It was just kind of like survival mode. So we basically just did the basics that year. And then the next year it was pretty heavy on academics. And then this last year she's going to be just completing and wrapping up the things that she needs to complete that transcript. But then she's also wanting to do things like get a job and be a little bit more independent out in the real world. But every year can and will look different, and that flexibility is really key and really beneficial to homeschooling high school. So we plan 1 year at a time, and I sit down with my daughter and I kind of talk to her about what things she wants to study that year. And then we pick curriculum if we decide to use curriculum for that subject. We don't always use curriculum. Sometimes we do, sometimes we kind of do our own thing, but we'll sit down and talk about it and choose together what curriculum we want to use based on the interests that she has. Most curriculums for high school are going to kind of be set up as a credit, and that'll be pretty easy to know that you have 1 credit. But if you decided not to use a curriculum and kind of follow your child's lead, what most areas have is like 1 credit is about 120 hours of study in that topic. So if you're trying to figure out what constitutes a credit, it is about 120 hours. This is also a really important time to teach them the skills that they're going to need when they go to college. If that's their plan to go to college, they need certain skills, and these skills are almost, in my opinion, more important than the actual academic stuff. So things like becoming independent, goal setting, time management, asking for help when they need it, being able to choose curriculum and topics that are interesting to them that they want to learn about. All of these are like really important for having a successful college career. One of the things that we do is once my kids get into high school, they do their work almost completely independently. I am there to help them when they need it, but they need to be able to schedule their day and manage their time and get the things done that they need to get done and be self-motivated to do those things. I buy my kids a planner at the beginning of the year for them to be able to write things down that they want to do. I don't give them like a set schedule that you need to do this day and this that day. They have a general overview of the things that they should get done in the year, and then we kind of narrow it down until we get down to like a week, and I'll give them like a week's worth of stuff that they should do, and they kind of manage that on their own and set their own schedule so that they're able to know what it looks like for them if they don't get something done and they procrastinate. And they can feel that stress and anxiety in a healthy way so that they know not to do it in the future. Other skills that are really important as you're going to college are going to be things like study skills, note-taking skills, knowing how to write a good paper and be able to research and cite things in both MLA and APA, and then having just computer knowledge on how to use a computer, email, log on to classes, and type well. All of those things are really important skills going into college. If you have those skills, then you are going to be successful in college, even if maybe you're behind academically. They have classes that'll get you caught up. But if you can just manage your time and be a responsible adult and have like some basic study skills, writing skills are really important, your child is going to be successful in college. Another important skill to have whether your kid is going to go to college or not, are just basic life skills. Again, these, in my opinion, are more important than the academic stuff. Just having basic life skills like knowing how to plan meals, cook food, go to the grocery store, doing laundry, finances and baking, having your own banking account and being able to manage your money, having a job, knowing how to schedule your day, like when to wake up, when to go to bed, how to get enough sleep, how to have a good hygiene. And all of these things are like critically important in just moving from adolescence into adulthood. So we really focus on those things just as equally as we focus on the academic stuff. So a lot of homeschooling high school is really just like 50% life skills, just basic skills, and then 50% academic stuff. And the academic stuff does not have to be as stressful and complicated as it seems. The transcripts are not as stressful and complicated as it seems. Even if your child is wanting to go to college and you need a really good transcript, you really can do that and plan it out in a way that suits your child and your family. And it can be really fun to homeschool high school. I think high school has been the most fun I've had homeschooling so far. We've done elementary, middle, high school now, and I love that my kids are independent, are really excited about what they're learning about because they're having a lot of control over what they're doing and what they're studying. They are interested in studying things and motivated to do all of these things, and it's just been a really, really enjoyable experience. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be doing my next video on like a detailed look at my 12th graders' complete transcripts so you can get a better idea of exactly what that transcript looks like on paper. Every family and every child's transcript is going to look differently, so this is just an example. Yours might look completely different than hers. In fact, it should, because you're really wanting your high schooler to study the things that they're interested in and that make them excited. But I'll share with you exactly what curriculum she used. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. I also just recently did a video on going over exactly what curriculum my 9th graders using and then also my 12th graders using, and you can watch those videos also. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.